This video is very long, a bit all over the place, very unstructured. Sorry, I still don't know how to host a podcast type thing. Some disclaimers. I don't necessarily agree with any of the opinions expressed by people who are not me in this video. And I did not go into this with the intention of slandering anyone. I just offered a platform to someone who knew more about the situation than me to speak their mind. I don't condone the harassment of anyone mentioned in this video. With that out of the way, enjoy the drama slop. Hello everyone. I'm joined by my buddy Mae.
Hello.
That's
It's
it?
me, my...
Okay. And we are here today to ask AvgBirdEnjoyer about the Elfin drama. Ooh, drama slop. So good.
Man, now they're going to interpret that as if I've been involved at all when I fucked off like 2 years ago, a year ago.
Yeah, I'm also only here because emotional support for our resident Italian man.
Emotional.
Yeah?
Okay. Yeah, I didn't even introduce myself. I'm Sgrenza. Hi. I make bad videos. Anyway, we've had some occasional interactions on Discord. I saw that there was some wild drama involving the Vtuber Elfin, and I figured I could ask what is going on. I know he was involved to some degree, and then I thought, why not turn this into a YouTube video? Because drama content seems very popular. I'm sure a lot of people would be interested in hearing this. Maybe, I don't know.
Milking drama for free views, let's go.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. But
Yeah,
yeah,
there's also... Go on.
Yeah, I personally, I don't know much about what happened. I mean, I'm on no one's side really. Maybe I'll be by the end of the video. I don't know. I'm just here to ask questions. And I also know that Mae knows a lot more about what happened than me.
Yeah, I was there a little bit, mostly just telling Elfin to finally go record her cover, which after promising it like 3 times over the span of 2 years, she never did.
So you were there for like professional reasons?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you
Yeah,
should
I
have.
invited him, actually.
Yeah, he invited me because he knew me and he was looking for a mixer.
Yeah,
That's-
maybe you should.
That's how I know Elfin.
You should have said that you are a mixer for
Oh yeah,
VTubers.
I'm a music producer and mixer for VTubers.
Okay.
And I know Elfin cause Bird got me in to mix a song for her, but she never ended up recording anything.
Great. So, I don't know. First thing I'm going to ask, I guess, is what is your role in all of this? How are you connected to this drama? Why should we even listen to you?
Okay. I guess the most recent stuff, not involved at all. For the last year, like anything past whenever I dropped the entire document. I did mean when I said that I would just leave it after and people can take it how they will, even if they didn't really take that to heart. But essentially, I guess I was her manager in standing, which was not, the title was not my own choice to take, because obviously I think we're all kind of aware of the implications when you take that title.
Indie VTubers and their managers that are definitely not the boyfriend.
Yeah, which is like, obviously I knew the connotation and like it ended up not mattering, obviously, but that was kind of put forward by our editor at the time because he had saw that it worked pretty well for other VTubers who I won't say anything of. Not for any particular reason, but just because they probably wouldn't appreciate it.
The
So
manager
he was
part
like
or the boyfriend part?
the manager part there. To my
Oh.
understanding, all the ones that he were referencing were professional only. So it ended up working out for them. You know, people in the community liked them, which was true back then, I guess. Um, and yeah, so I guess that was my thing. So I ended up doing a lot for her, with modding, with cleaning up the Discord server, making it actually like inhabitable because if you were around in the very early days of the first server, um, it was kind of grim. It was like very much unusable, and it was just people spamming like slurs all the way down in general chat, or like posting gore, or like like someone would join and immediately 10 people would threaten to rape them, which like is funny in a way, but like if you intended to actually make it a usable space for anything, it's kind of abysmal. So yeah, but in terms of the business side, like I also handle finances, things like the donathon, things like her personal finances, tax advice, that type of thing, reading over business. So, when someone approached with like a contract for merch or whatever, I was the person reading over that and be like, hey, are you going to get screwed over? If this happens, or like, what if all the units don't sell? Do we have to buy it back because that happens sometimes? All of that. Um, yeah. However, I do want to say, because at least at the end, like last couple months before I left, she seemed to push this narrative, which I did not see, right? She pushed this narrative that people like Trump style people, they were saying that were attributing a lot of her content ideas to me, which I never saw that. I didn't see anyone ever claim that, but she seemed really stuck on that being a thing, which is why she like pushed me out a lot more near the end and for obvious other reasons. But like that's what she put forward. I because everyone knows the connotation, everyone knows how VTubers is, and I'm not that type of person. I went very much out of my way to not touch any of her content ideas. Like all of that was hers, all of her tweets, even the bad ones. That was all on her.
Actually, the bad ones.
She can have all of that, right? That was something that I never touched. So I don't really know why she was harping on it or who was saying that, because I did look for it. It did not exist as far as I knew. So yeah, I guess that's the summary of what I did originally. Obviously, I did all the other like normal VTuber fan things. Like I commissioned a lot of art. I donated when she was having whatever financial issue, that type of thing. Gave her advice because she herself admitted that she was a tourist to the space. So some people that you should ignore in the space because they attract controversy, who I will not outright say, but everyone should probably already know. Things like that. Like don't do flash posting. Usually people don't like that. How donathons work. How general VTubing stuff, like doing covers, right? She wasn't really up for that. Yeah, exactly. She really wasn't up for that. Even though she did that initial karaoke stream like way back on Twitch. She really didn't.
She do have one cover of her. She did sing in the Rise of it.
She also did release a video, I think, after I was already like gone. But like that, which is kind of funny because she never recorded your cover, which I already paid for. But you know,
Oh yeah.
Oh, so
no big deal. No big.
that's why you were the manager, so you reached out to Mai for a cover of a
It,
song.
it it was a long chain of events. I became mod as a proxy way to ban a problematic person if necessary. That was why that ever happened. In terms of us DMing, that was on her. Like she, like I said in my whole write up, the only interaction we had in DMs before was she and Pity had said something about like starting drama on VT, and she didn't want to post what that was about in the general server because obviously me and other people at the time were like, hey, you should probably just not go over there, right? Um, so she DM'd me what it was, and I was like, you're an idiot, basically, like lol, right? That was the extent. And then the next DM like is the one in the write up where she was expressing her gratitude to me, essentially. So before that, and then after that, it obviously like I got a bigger and bigger role and took on more things willingly. You know, I chose to do that.
So okay, so that's
Yeah.
the beginning of the story, I guess. You became
Correct.
mod. Okay.
Beginning of the story, I can go through it because it gives me a chance to. I will call out this person because it's funny, and I do it every time. Where I blame Idol Bandit, which is just a friend of ours. The only reason I started watching Elf was it was one of her first streams on Twitch, and it was her Deep Rock Galactic. It was one of her early Deep Rock Galactic streams, and she was talking. I guess she was taking a food break, and she was talking about how she like eats nothing but like one egg a day, right? Maedara probably remembers even.
Oh yeah.
Like
The
every
one
time
with
she would
the
say
egg.
like I'm having an egg a day, and that's like my girl dinner, whatever, right?
To be
In,
fair,
like
that's
ice
all you
cubes.
need. Eggs are goaded.
This guy. And Idol Bandit saw that and he felt bad, right? And he pinged me and was like, "You should save this streamer. You should like help her out." Or no, someone else pinged on his behalf, and I was like, "Okay, I'll give him a watch," right? And I was like, "Oh, this streamer's pretty cool. They're going on a tangent about Bill Cipher and how the universe is fake. Like that's pretty cool, right?" Um, Here's like $1,000, which if you know me, I kind of just do that very haphazardly, um, just like cause I'm in a position to. And I would like to think that some people need that more than me, right? And people kind of have this notion that um, I have like intent behind it, but they clearly or they obviously wouldn't know of all the other random people, right? Like in the background that aren't streamers or whatever, where they need some like monetary help or they need like someone to talk to, which I go out of my way to do, right? And a lot of those that come back to bite me in the ass, I still kind of do it even now, just a lot more. I'm a lot more jaded, a little more low key about it. You know, it's like people that I personally know or like um, don't have public outreach. Like they are just people, right? So, yeah, sorry, I derailed, but yeah, so he said like, hey, can you help the streamer? I gave her like $1,000, and she was like very grateful of it. It's like, oh, I could finally like buy my model. I remember the reaction, and then the day after she made the Discord, and I was like, you know, people were like poking fun, and they were like, oh, you're gonna stick around. I was like, okay, sure, like I'll join the Discord, right? That's like the real beginning. So everything is Idol Bandit's fault, and you should blame him for it. Clearly.
Sounds like a
So
good
you
idea.
basically bought your way to mod.
No, that had nothing to do with me being mod. That was just how I got introduced to her. And that's why she sent me the message of gratitude. But that also because at the time, She had Maros open. I don't know if she still does. And obviously people supported Maros there. So she
Well,
was appreciative of those two, right?
I mean,
but
at this point, she has stopped all activity, I think. So
at this point, yeah. But I mean, like, you know, because Maros is like a traditional VTuber thing, right? Which is something that we all kind of pitched to her. We all, as in like people initially in the server who weren't like pure tourists, right? Um, yeah. So she.
Oh yeah, by the way, I
Mhm.
fucking hate Marshmallow. They censor like
Yeah, it's horrible.
so many words that they don't even tell you if your message got through.
Oh, you're complaining about the other half. I thought you were gonna complain that like VTubers read them and have like a public meltdown on Twitter
Yeah,
over
the
like the
anonymous
smallest.
part doesn't really help because they get 10,000 nice
No, look,
models.
I'm
Once
complaining
they-
from
Why did
a
you stream even if you're sick and they'll think they let down the entire fan base?
I'm complaining from a VTuber fan perspective. I don't care about
Yeah, yeah.
the other side.
So,
anyway,
I guess to answer your-
anyway, yeah.
To answer your question, yes, I guess a lot of people saw it as me buying my way to mod, but like it was also just that I was there and I obviously knew what I was doing, right? So I ended up taking on a lot of responsibility just haphazardly. Especially back then. Because back then she was very very loose, I guess. Like for example, if you remember the Rima Evenstar, whatever her name is, Event Star person, she covered the
Rima
drama and
Evenstar,
got
yeah.
like, even though it was all in the document properly, she misrepresented like a lot of things. Like not even misrepresented, like things were just incorrect. One of those things was that Merrick was an admin, which was exceptionally funny because I saw him in the comment for that video that was like, dude, I wasn't an admin. What the hell, man? He doesn't remember. He was admin for one day because Elfin was too lazy to add an emote. So she made him admin, which meant that he could literally delete the server. She made him admin to add this emote. So he was admin for like a day.
Okay, so I guess you can correct some misunderstandings later.
Sure.
We should
but
probably
go just to
go,
preface.
like,
I did not actually watch that video.
yeah, me neither. As I told you, I don't know anything about this entire thing.
Sure.
So, going off from that, we could talk about where did the drama start, I guess.
Where did it start? So it wasn't public for a really long time. But to be fair, I think like over time, a lot of people in the community certainly noticed. Especially the people that ended up being mod, like Palma and Colorless, right? But I'll get to that if we're going through the whole story. Where it started, I think it was like a month into the server creation. Maybe two. It was like March, April. Basically, she had these bouts of quote unquote drunkenness, and I'll get to that. Although it's a bit schizophrenic. It was something that I was thinking about recently after the whole thing blew up again. She would have these bouts of haphazardly being drunk and being like, hey, can I call you? To me, right? And probably to other people at the time as well. And I was like, oh, okay, sure. Like, we could just talk and, you know, you'll fuck off and go to sleep. Whatever, right? And that happened a couple times, and that was fine. She would basically just tell me about her life, yada yada yada, and then like go to sleep, right? But there was one time, and I highlight the exact date in the write-up where she just like was like she sent me nudes, and I don't remember the exact like dialogue. But I do remember her like shuffling around and being like, "Oh, how do I like take a good picture of this?" Right? And I kind of I was not expecting that, to say the least, nor was I asking for it. But that did happen, and afterwards I was like, "Hey, do you remember what you did?" And she obviously feigned ignorance. And then I recounted the whole thing, right, to her. And I was like, hey, do you want... And obviously she acted like she was embarrassed or didn't remember, etc. I was like, hey, do you want me to delete these? And she said, yeah. So I was like, okay, sure. But, right, and people criticize me for this. However, I feel, especially now that it ended up being justified, I did just put them away, right, into this folder that I was alluding to at the start, as evidence in case anything was ever alleged or if there was any nonsense, right? It was a precaution. And people criticized me for that, but obviously I ended up being right to take that precaution because the people in like response in that Twitter thread are like, you didn't need to save those. We would have just believed you at face value, even though there are people not believing the literal, like, textual evidence, photographic evidence in front of them. So, yeah, so she did that. And the way that I took it, right, because you must understand from my perspective, I'm literally coming into this person who's like starving, they're all alone, they got no friends, their parents suck, they're trying to make it as a streamer. They seem relatively okay. It seems like the typical sympathetic story of someone who was not given a chance, and if they were, they could become something great,
I
right?
can fix her.
I can fix.
Yeah, I would need to see other examples of that to truly know if that's like, yeah, you could just say that's what I was doing, I guess. But I feel like it's not necessarily the same. But same vein, but not with like the same connotation.
Oh yeah.
Right? So I'm coming into that with that mentality of like, okay, this person is kind of mentally unwell, but maybe she'll get better and like, she can get her finances sorted, she'll be in a good spot. I'll fuck off that, right? So then she does this, right? And it's like, okay. At this point she told me about what she used to do on R9K and Soch when she was like a minor, right? So it's like, okay, you clearly had like kind of a fucked up upbringing. You might be one of those types of people who doesn't, they were exploited at a young age and they don't really know what to do, so this is how they show appreciation or whatever, right? So it's like, okay, I'm not going to like take advantage of that, right? I don't particularly care, and like I said, which you guys might not even believe, which no one would believe at face value, that if, I would have cut it off at some point when she was in like a better state of mind or a better financial position, etc., right? So I'm thinking like, okay, I know I'm not that type of person to take advantage of this. So if she wants to do that with me, that's fine. She feels better, whatever, right? Like, it doesn't have to mean anything, basically. And that's why, even though she tries to spin it negatively, that's why I was pretty, like, I was trying to essentially, like, put her in a safe space so she doesn't, like, fuck herself over. Because if she does that to someone else in her server of, like, the lowest level human life imaginable in society, right? It's like, it's just gonna be a messy situation. But obviously that's, in current day, we know that's essentially what she wanted the entire time, right? And I'll get into that because she purposefully targets people in that way who are like that, who are like, she refers to them as like losers or like I mean, I guess I can say it now. She said in reference to one person that it was like Welcome to the NHK, where she's the main female character, Misaki, implying that
I think that's her name.
that the guy is Satoru, right?
Yeah, I still haven't watched that show, so I don't know the reference.
He doesn't know, but this
That's
Sgrenza knows.
basically this girl that appears in this guy's life and fixes him. Basically,
Yes, but the plot twist is that she's actually kind of a freak, and the reason that she chose him is
Yeah,
because
she needs
Oh, I see.
fixing of her own.
yeah, like she needs someone who she thinks is worse than herself. That's
Oh
why she
yeah,
picked
yeah,
him.
yeah.
It's a good show, by the way.
Way more often than you
It's
think.
watch Welcome to the NHK.
It's on my list. Don't worry.
Yeah, so she doesn't exactly think highly of these people, to say the least. So yeah, that was my mentality going into it. The people who are like, "Why did you stick around?" It's like, or why did you try to always coax her into like going into a private call when she's being weird as a drunk in public? It's like, yeah, because I didn't want anything bad to come of it, right? Because it would have been, especially then where I was like, oh, she's just trying to be a VTuber. Like the last thing you want as a VTuber is for, your shit to be leaked to random people who you essentially got from VT or 4chan in general. It's like, brother, that's not gonna work out for you.
Moral of the story: don't go on 4chan.
I think moral of the story so far is like don't drink.
That too, of course. Yeah.
Well, we'll get to it. But yeah, that's essentially the start, right? It was like early April, or like March, something like that. And obviously, we talk. You can read the thing later if you care. Obviously, we talked like in depth. Because I remember you were going to make a video on the nature of parasocialism and how people don't actually know what that word means. Um, and I would agree because people call this, and she even in her rebuttal that is now deleted,
Oh yeah, she did say that.
she said that it was like like the recompense for her parasocialism. That's not being like it was like we recognized that the other person existed, like we knew each other outside of the online environment, right? Like
Yeah, at
it's
this
completely
point,
ridiculous.
Parasocial just gets used as one person is a content creator. That's
Yeah.
about it. That's what it means now.
One person is a streamer, but that's one thing. I'm I'm kind of jumping ahead, but that's one thing that really pissed me off is they'll say that it's parasocial with that meaning that this person's a streamer and this person's not, and they had some sort of relation. But then in the same breath, they will not understand why she as the streamer has an inherent power dynamic.
Yeah.
And it makes no sense to me.
By
And
the
they
way,
just attribute
by the
it
way,
to the age gap.
parasocial just means, just to clarify, that is a non-reciprocated relationship, interaction. So just because you're talking on the internet doesn't mean that it's a parasocial relationship if the other person is, responding to you.
Correct. I think the usual example is people who are like infatuated with a Hollywood celebrity. Like they literally do not know you exist.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
these and stuff.
but
So
in this case, if you two were DMing each other, it's not a parasocial interaction by definition. It is not, because it is a reciprocated relationship.
yes,
Yeah,
but
it doesn't have to be like reciprocated equal feelings, just like
No,
interaction.
it's not about
Just
feelings.
interact,
It's just
exactly,
if the interaction is reciprocated, it is not a parasocial by definition.
yeah. So that's essentially how it started. And then I guess you can ask more questions before we move on because it gets fast. It gets going quickly. Like the rest of it.
No, so far I'll let you get to the juicy stuff, and then we'll
Okay.
see.
So yeah, so obviously like this entire time in us talking and her sending explicit photos, and she was heavily implying that she was like into me, right? That was the whole thing. Which, to be clear, I did not go into it with that intention, right? Like what I said is true. And frankly, if that was truly how she felt, like at some point I would have cut it off anyway. Because it, like, yeah, any person in my position, if they were being truthful, it would feel kind of scummy, right? Like, you're essentially taking advantage of someone who just didn't fucking grow up. Not in the negative sense, but like they just didn't have parents, or like, they were like molested when they were 10 or something, which is something that she would claim apparently on stream. Yeah, so after that, after like a few months and her being in that way, me and a couple friends were like thinking about just taking a trip to the UK, which is where she lived or lives. I guess she didn't move out of the country yet. And like we just pitched, or I pitched the idea to her, like, hey, just like say hi or something, if you want. So we end up going to the UK. She like backs out a meeting, which is fine. It's not like I pigeonholed her. I literally was like, yeah, if you don't want to, like, whatever, right? But yeah. At that point, I think I had some gifts for her. So she did give me her address to mail those. She just didn't want to meet in person, which was like, okay, you presented to me this character that is hyper socially anxious, etc., etc. Like, okay, I'll jump through a few hoops, buddy. Here you go. You know. But the big thing that happened during that UK trip was someone DM'd me while we were at dinner at like a nice restaurant, or we were about to go to dinner at a nice restaurant that our friend picked out.
Was it wingers?
No, it was some like 1-star Michelin, or like
Oh wow, that's
some like
fancy.
nice-ish restaurant, right? I get a DM from a guy, and he goes, I need to talk to you about Elf. And this person and I did not exactly have the best relationship for a lot of varying reasons. I would categorize them as one of the people who I tried to help and then ended up kind of biting me. He says, hey, I was talking to Merrick, and I could give a lot of backstory for Merrick and her interaction in the server, because it's a recurring pattern that would be noticed later to anyone paying attention. So I'll go back to that, I guess. But basically, he said that he was talking to Merrick, and he spilled the beans that he and her, meaning Merrick and Elf, were doing like essentially the same thing. Like, he said specifically that she jerked off in call to his voice. That is what he said, like, directly. But obviously that has other implications. So, I'm sitting down at the restaurant. I'm just like, oh shit, right? Like, this is kind of fucked now, for a lot of reasons. I remember talking to my friends at the table, and I said, I called it out. I said, she seems like the type of person who had a rough childhood, and as a result of that, she developed into like a habitual cheater type. Right? That's literally word for word what I said, what I categorized her as. And I was essentially talked out of it. They were like, maybe she's just an idiot, right? So it's like, okay, I'll send you, I'll bring this up to you because it's something that you should know, that these people are leaking your personal info, even if it was technically to my benefit, if you want to look at it that way. So I brought it up to her. Her initial reaction, which makes sense in retrospect, was to be like hyper aggressive towards me, even though it was not. I didn't go out of my way to look for it. It was not my fault, essentially. There was nothing on me. It was me telling her so that she knew, basically. And then she had like a really oddly written apology, and I wrote out a whole like sappy thing too, obviously. Of like, hey, I'll still like be your friend and like blah blah blah, maybe just be a bit more clear with the communication and everything. And she didn't address that at all in her response. She was kind of dodging bullets, clearly, right? Because that's the whole point. But I was willing to play like the 99-1 odds, right? Not for a relationship, right? For the mental trap that I put myself in, right? It's like, okay, well, there's a 99% chance that she is what I said. Or there's the 1% chance that I was talked into that maybe she just needs a little bit of help. And if I dip now, she's gonna like neck. And that'll be on me, right? That'll be maybe not from the public perception, but just like my mental, I would know, right? So I kind of trapped myself then.
Mhm.
So that was the Merrick part. And then after that, it kind of smoothed out. It smoothed over. She kept me around. We were still DMing in more ways, in like like personal, but not the same, obviously. But still in terms of like mental, like talking her through her like weird mental crashes and whatever, and obviously all the VTuber related stuff. That still happened. Um, and then I guess this is Bean's part of the story, but he's not here. There were some other characters that popped up: Captcha, Shovel, Lachlan.
Yeah, you don't really need
Um,
to tell all of their like stories.
yeah, they were just people in the server. Captcha was this guy. He was kind of, he had to grow on people. I remember I was one of the people who vouched for him. I was like, Captcha when he types is like absolute cancer. Like I
Oh,
would
I
ban him
remember
from
that.
chat like immediately, right? But when he is in VC and like playing games, he's really funny. Um, that's just kind of how what he was. Lachlan was just a guy. He like worked in a restaurant or something. He would just pop in from time to time. Shovel was very active. He was I would just the best way I could describe Shovel to you is if you could imagine Jordan Peterson, but somehow dumber, right? So like Jordan Peterson to me is someone who kind of just word salads. He says a bunch of garbage to sound smart to people who don't actually think very hard. But if you actually listen to what he says, you would know that he's kind of an idiot, right?
Hmm.
So Shovel, yeah, he and I clash heads a lot. Like we bumped heads constantly because he came off as like very confident and like arrogant about things. And no one else really challenged him, so it was kind of like, he would just kind of steamroll an entire VC if no one told him to shut up, basically. Um, but these characters exist, and a lot of things happened with them where I was somewhat suspicious, right, of what was going on. But I didn't want to call out things explicitly because I don't, that's kind of a hard accusation with no backup, right? No proof. So that's why I kind of waited around until it was essentially delivered into my lap, which we'll get there. Um, but some things that stuck out to me. Oh, the pattern. I didn't tell you. I didn't go back. So the thing with Merrick, I remember. I don't know if Maedara was there. We had like this whole arc where we were playing Muck, which is just like this
No,
crappy.
I wasn't there for that one.
Yeah, we were playing Muck for a while. It was like this crappy. I don't know how to describe it. It's made by the guy who made Crab Game, and it's kind of like Minecraft, but yeah, like we were just like messing around with this game. I think someone, I think Robo suggested it actually. And it was pretty fun. And she would get drunk and she would do this thing where she would be like, "Dude, where's Merrick? Someone get Merrick in the call. Merrick." And she'll do this, right? Um, and it was like, oh, okay, whatever. Like she just wants him around for the game, right? You can't really attribute anything to that until you realize it's a pattern. And that would happen with Captcha. That happened with Shovel a lot. It didn't happen with Lachlan. But yeah, it was like a reoccurring pattern where the person that and she did it to me too in the very beginning. But the person that she is targeting, the one she's focusing on, she will like straight up call them out in public too, like or like call for them, I guess, to always join. And I'm assuming that that is like, even if it's subconscious to her, it's like a tactic, right? To make them feel special. Um, so yeah, that would happen. One of the things that stuck out to me about Shovel was one day he it was after a certain point. He and I would always butt heads, but after a certain point, he started making cuck jokes distinctly targeted towards me. And I was like, "You're not that slick." Like, I, I kind of already know, and you being passive aggressive about it does not give me proof to, just let me exit. So it's just kind of annoying, right? So yeah, that would happen, and irregardless of it all, after her initial donathon for the PC, we were going to meet and just like go hang out, do some stuff that when she was drunk, she would often talk about stuff that she wanted to do. Um, and most of it was relatively like wholesome, like, oh, I want to try like seafood, or oh, I want to go to like Build-A-Bear, or oh, I want to like do like all these like relatively innocuous, like childlike things for someone who again is putting forward the image that they did not have a good childhood, right? And I can get that, or I can relate to that. Um, so yeah, we're gonna hang out, do a bunch of random stuff that she wanted to do, go to some like nice restaurant, and then I would help her build her PC, whatever, right? Um, and all of that happened. I came back, and then she like flipped a switch. Uh, actually, there's this really funny thing that happened. That this is one of those things that I omitted from the doc, because it was unnecessary. When I was leaving, right? I said something like, "Oh, bye. You know, let me know if you want to make this like a reoccurring thing." Because she always says about how lonely she is. She has no friends, whatever. It's like, okay, let me know if you want to make this a reoccurring thing. Like, we can probably make it work. Um, and she didn't say, even then, she didn't say no. She didn't say yes or no. She said maybe, right? And that's part of the pattern. Is it's just on the edge enough to like bait people to keep going on, and or like give her an out if she needs it, right?
Professional
It's done
edge.
in such a way. Um yeah, so after the trip is the big stuff. But I think even in my write up there was this section where it was very awkward. Oh, I do remember. So you know how I said after Merrick, everything kind of chilled out, right? There was no more of this like sexual stuff. It was more so just like mental health and like, hey, um, I need help with like this. Can you like look for this commission at, oh, our editor needs help with this. It's like, okay, I got it. But that did change. And that was part of the confusion. That
So
I
basically, you were just
yes.
a normal manager doing normal manager
Yeah,
things.
that was the entire thing. That's how it was on the surface level, because that's how I kept it. Whether it was real or not, like the whole point is to be professional regardless. She did not. She was very uh I don't know. I feel like it was almost intentional, like how bad she was at lying or like concealing his negative connotation. But you know what I mean? Like, you know how I said that I got her some stuff, right? She in her server was talking about like, oh, I always wanted these bat plushies. Yeah, when I was a kid. So I got her one. I got her two. And she just started showing them off in the server. And it's like anyone that was paying attention would kind of like put two and two. Like you're kind of dumb. But that was relatively innocuous. But some other ones were much more like even more on the nose. But yeah, to go back, what I was going to say is all of that like kind of disappeared for a while, a couple months, right? But then it started again, like out of the blue. She just randomly sent me something, and was like compliment baiting essentially. And I was like, oh yeah, like okay, you know, like no, I don't think you're like disgusting or whatever. But it was very confusing because it's like, okay, this happened, we sorted it out, we're still friends, whatever. Then you decide to send stuff again. It's like, what are you trying to do, right? Um, and during this time, she was also like more mentally unstable, at least on a, for whatever reason. No one knows for sure, not even me. Although I have theories which we can get to. Yeah, so it essentially it started up again for no reason, and it was very confusing. Because she never really said what she wanted, right? That's kind of the whole thing. Is it's kind of like not even a carrot on the stick, because again, I don't particularly care for the relationship aspect. It's more so just like not giving me a clear answer on if I was right, or if my friend was right, on if I should just leave, cut my losses and leave and never have to deal with this again. Um, yeah, that was essentially leading up to December, and you can read about it in depth if you want, because I'm definitely missing some like
December, not of this, or 2025, right? 2024.
2024, correct. And after New Year's, I come back. She flips like a switch where she's suddenly like very aggressive towards me. Like she would nitpick like everything that I did or said. She would side with other people in arguments against me, and like a very noticeable shift, right? And I was just like, "Hey, dude, like you're kind of being a dick. I like if you're gonna continue just to be an asshole all the time, I'm just gonna leave, right? Or I'm just gonna be not as active." Um, and she's sort of like she she never really like actually knocked it off. But it was kind of obvious why she was doing that in retrospect. Uh, and what ended up happening was we had the VR arc, right? I don't know if Mai was even around for the VR.
No, I left earlier.
Yeah, yeah.
So at this point, you
The
were already out of the picture.
Yeah,
Oh,
for
I've been
me,
out of the picture since Merrick, realistically.
when was that?
Um,
Like end of summer 24?
yes. But we'll get there. We'll get there because we're getting to the fun part. We're getting there. So the reason I'm talking about the VR arc was it's gotten to the point where me, Colorless Palma, and some other people in the community, definitely picked up what she was putting down, right? Like what she was doing. And I was like, hey, you guys as fellow mods who have no jobs, unlike me, we should just do like kind of round the clock to make sure she doesn't do anything dumb, right? Because we all kind of knew. um, sorry, let me take a drink. And in VR was when she and Sako got very close, and Rezi. But from what I know, he either shut her down or they didn't do anything. But she got very close. She would get drunk and like dote on people, and it was significantly worse because it's in VR, right? Um, I remember I remember catching part of her conversation with Milk, who was this like, I think he was like spec ops or something for the U.S. military. And she was like complimenting his like the aesthetics of his body, and to my like, and I was like, did you guys did he ever post a picture in the server? And no one knew, right? Like no one ever saw. They were like, oh yeah, but like only in military gear. And it's like, you can't really see someone's physique through the military gear, so like what's she talking about, you know um
Like the military gear.
and yeah, but the big one is that she got pretty close to Sako, and Sako was I don't know how to describe him. He was like the male version of her, I guess, in a sense. But what ended up happening is he picked up some of her bad habits purposefully, from what he told me at least. He said that I started drinking because Elf does, and Elf would have violent outbursts at people when she was drunk, so I do that now, right? He started working out because she told him to.
That's at
Things
least
of
something
that
positive.
things of that nature. But because he started drinking, and he obviously I'm building up to like he and her were fucking around, right? And that was like weighing on him mentally because obviously she is also mentally unwell. So she would like dump all the shit. They would like fight all the time, supposedly. Um, like a married couple. Um, and it like was weighing on him mentally. So one day in like February, he got pretty drunk and he was like, "Hey Bird, can I like talk to you about something?" I was like, "Oh, what you got?" And he was like, "It's about VTubers." It's like, "Okay." So he private calls me and he's like, "There's this guy in the server who's like looking for Elf's old info." Right? Like her previous Steam usernames, her other accounts that may like leak her location, her real name. This guy might be a problem later. I was like, oh, okay, thanks for the info. And then he said something very peculiar. I think I pointed out in the write up. And I definitely told it to Mai back then when I remember things better. He said, yeah, and I think some of these are true, are like accurate. Some of these allegations that this guy is saying, right? Like that she's Pakistani. And I was like, "Oh, really, Sako? You do have proof of some of these things, right?" Um and it became this like dumb thing of like he and I kind of slowly but surely figured out that we both one knew the same information and two had the same experience, right? Or roughly. And he was, the prime guy at the time. um, so yeah, so he essentially and he was willing to like once he found out and I dumped everything and he and I exchanged our story, he was like, I really wanted an answer to a very specific question, which is like, um,
Will you marry me?
no, I think we're far past that. It was something about like if she only kept me around for money because that was something that I internally and like said aloud that if like she ever voiced that opinion or if she said that like she never needed me at all, right? Then then it's like done. There's no coming back from that point. Then I'm just gonna leave. So I really wanted the answer to that question. And he also asked her because he and I gave him the list of people I suspected. He gave me his list of people. It was the six that ended up in the write up. And he confirmed, because I guess she trusted him more, or she thought so lowly of him that she was willing to just like dump everything because he couldn't do anything about it, whatever, or he wouldn't do anything about it. So he confirmed the list of people that we have in the final write up. Obviously, there are probably more, right? Like I alluded to the milk guy. Um, and obviously, there's been more since I left because that was part of the pre-blow up before she exploded her account. Um, yeah, so Sako is what I was alluding to before. He essentially delivered the hard evidence that I needed onto my lap. And from that position, I was going and telling people that I liked, right? So I told Mai and Zenkaro because they both happened to be Swiss, and I thought that was
Oh
funny,
yeah,
right?
I forgot there was
So
another Swiss guy.
yeah, yeah. So I told like, I told we'll get to Bean later, because he's important. But I was essentially telling people that I liked, that I wanted to stay friends with, and I was like, I don't care. I'm not here to influence how you feel. I don't care what you do with this information. I'm telling you because this is why I'm leaving, right? This is what happened. I don't want you to be confused as someone who I thought of as like as a friend. You're confused why I disappeared suddenly. That was why I was telling people. And that was one thing that really pissed me off is I distinctly wanted to tell Jumblo and No last, and there are two people for two separate reasons. Jumblo ended up being her mod. No is her streamer friend. You know, 35-year-old recovering heroin addict.
Shout out to Hags.
Yeah, real. And the reason it pissed me off was because all of this stupid like ridiculous game of telephones going on in the background between different people. People are trying to figure it out. I'm talking with my person who we have a combined image, right? That like a picture that's already done. And the reason that I was gonna tell Jumblo and No last, I said this to Sako. He would end up leaking everything, to Elf to try and get back on her good side, which, as far as I'm aware, never particularly happened. Because Sako initially was like, "Oh yeah, I like hate her. I'm gonna go, I'm gonna like eviscerate her existence from the internet, right?" And I was like, "Hold on, buddy. Maybe don't do that, right?" Because I had the intention of doing the same thing the entire time. You can ask any person ever to exist. I was going to make this write up, and I was going to release it not even truly publicly. I think I only wanted to put it in the Discord because those were the only people that mattered, right? Because she targets people in her Discord. And they were going to know about her antics. And that would be that, because like my whole thing was like, hey, you shouldn't be doing that because you're in a position of power in your own community as the streamer. And also, she would literally slander people. Like, Merrick got banned from the server, and she obviously told me that, like, oh, he just took advantage of me when I was drunk, which is, like, okay, you just, like, destroy that guy's character. She did the same thing to Captcha. Captcha was supposedly this, like, schizophrenic, insane guy who didn't take his rejection well and then would harass her till the ends of the earth.
Why does her community attract so many weird people?
Have you ever watched a stream of hers? Like,
no.
objective
Do you think? Look, I'm just here for the content, man.
Okay, fair.
Well, clearly not. You didn't watch her content. I would say
for my content and not her content.
Okay. Yeah, that was the nature of the type of, like, that was who she was attracting, because she was at heart like a 4chan tuber, or like whatever, like, oh, I'm like openly racist or transphobic. What else did she say? I don't even know. She had a tactical phase. She
kind of sums it up.
She had like schizophrenic theories about how Jews control the entire world, and like the the whole world is an illusion.
Theories.
Huh?
I'm just kidding.
No. Yeah, it was
No,
that was essentially the type
the record,
of
I'm just kidding.
Yes. I'm sure as an Italian you would not. Well, I don't know, if you're Sicilian, I guess you would believe in such, a secret shadow government, huh? That just makes sense.
I don't know.
Sicilians are
like
the secret shadow government.
The entire Israel controls the world is an American thing. I don't.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah.
I'm not even. But yeah, essentially that's the type. And again, right, what she said about the NHK comment, she is obviously going for low-hanging fruit here, like people who she thinks are worse than herself to make herself feel better. And you could really see that, like, within her server, even in the first one. The second one, from what I've been told, after it all blew up, was like way worse. Like, there was just a bunch of stoners and like druggies, and you know, like actual just animals. But even in the first one, you know, there was times where like I was one of the most normal functioning people, and by that I mean like I go outside, I can have a conversation, I have a job. Um, I
What
remember like I remember someone telling me like they were in VC. You know, I'm friends with them. I'm still friends with them now. So they were telling me how they were in VC one time, and there was like 20 people or whomever, and he was like, "Yeah, guys, like what do we all do for work?" And literally no one answered. He was the only guy in that VC that had a job, right?
That's
Like
funny.
these are the these are the types of people we're talking about. There was a guy who was complaining that his internet was slow, and it's like, "Oh, where do you live?" "Oh, I live rent free in my grandmother's basement." Like, oh, okay, dude. Like, this is the type of people like we're talking about, right? And
And and
go on.
she attracted this audience because she pretend to be like one of them, or was she actually?
She definitely it's the pandering to the girl failure type, right? You see it a lot with like with the other ones that still exist.
So it was a grift, or
Yeah, you could say that's what people call it, and you know, she she ended up going on like Twitter tirades about how people don't understand what a grift is, but she is like the textbook definition of a grift, right? She pretended to be like a lonely girl failure femcel type, even though she would later go on to say that femcels don't exist, you know. But like presenting yourself as like this very sympathetic, like terrible childhood, poor antisocial or socially anxious person, you know, identifying with Tomoko, etc. So she attracted people who were other supposedly like herself, or you know, wanted to help her or wanted to whatever. But it was mostly people that were like herself or gooners by the end, because she got very popular from various goon tweets. Like there's probably a repost of that tweet somewhere still of
Oh yeah, that very first Goon tweet.
the very first one, yeah.
Yeah.
The very first one. And even though like
Say I
people
don't.
in the server complained like, oh, it flooded the server with like new people who only knew her from the goon tweet, and it was like it was terrible to sift through all the garbage. You know, she still continued to do it on like repeatedly. And that's how she got her like massive following and all the people in the Discord. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I would say yeah, she attracts the worst audience because she panders to the worst kind of people.
Very intentional.
okay.
Yeah.
And so you ended up writing a document. The
Oh, we
classic.
have to get there.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I started the Google Doci trend. I also started the people in the thread like replying Grok summarized. That was all from my thing. I will take credit for that.
That's so.
It's really funny that after that, like
Wait.
all the people who are holding all this shit in about the VTubing community just fucking come out and start posting their docs, and then the Cinder thing happened. Oh my god, it
Oh yeah.
was.
I forgot you were personally responsible for everything that Cinder did.
You were the
Yeah.
OG Google Doc guy?
Yes, I was the I saw no other ones. I was the progenitor, and all of the people in the thread commenting, Grok, please summarize this in like Danish or whatever, like all the dumb things. That was all because like the people in call with me who were my friends at the time were like going to it to summarize because it was the joke was that it was so long, even though most of it's images. Um, yeah, so because she deleted there's a lot, so let me just go back so Sako delivered me like hard evidence, so I know even then afterwards I like deliberated on what to do, because again she presented herself as like a mentally unstable, like schizophrenic, who's just an idiot, you know, makes some mistakes 6 times in a row doing the same thing, you know. And it's like, okay, well, there, you know, if you do this, there's a chance that she like next, and it's like, yeah, but also, like if you remember what happened with Gunpei, well, you probably don't. Um, some Gunpei had a similar thing happen, I think, and that's why she fell off the face of the earth for the time
Did she
being.
have anything to do with Elfin, or was that just
No,
like
no, no. It was completely unrelated,
unrelated
but
story?
it vindicated me because after the Gunpei thing happened and her whole drama, someone in our mutual server, if you remember, posted a tweet and he was like, "Dude, I'm pretty worried about this guy. Like he does not seem like he's having a good time. Like does anyone know him?" And I opened that Twitter and it was a guy for the last like week just posting about how he's gonna like neck himself. Like it's all over. I can't believe I don't know what to do anymore. And then his final tweet was like, "There's no my parents aren't around. Like I can finally do it this time." That
Oh
was his
yeah,
last tweet. He hasn't made a tweet since. That guy's cooked. Like
That's
right. And
that's pretty dark.
yeah. So to me, I was like, okay, this vindicates everything that like was my stated purpose for making this public is like people people should know. And I got people saying that I was moral fiending. I got people saying that I was just being dishonest. It's like no, that was the main reason that I'm making it public. Like I essentially had to because it would be a disservice to everyone else if I didn't and they didn't know. And then they that could happen to them. Like, oh my god, dude. Like at least afterwards people getting involved know what they're getting, I would hope.
Yeah, I mean, she also went through it on a stream, so it wasn't like purely one-sided attacking. Then she kind of like accepted it by doing that, I guess.
There was so much wrong. But let's go back. Yeah, so Sako gave me evidence. I then, deliberated, sorry, over what to do.
Just a second.
Yeah.
You can tell Greg your story. I just got to do some laundry real quick. I'll be right back.
This guy's
Editor, cut this one out.
I don't think I will.
Yeah, I'll tell Greg because he already knows. So, what happened was because I started going around talking to people, telling that what had happened, and was like, hey, if you guys want to, I'll be around here, here, and here if you want to stay friends or do whatever you gotta do. Did I even finish my reason why the Jumblo no thing pissed me off? I think you asked me why she attracts the people that she does.
Yeah.
Before I got there. Yeah, so the reason that it made me really upset was like me and Jumblo, we like talked on some like relatively personal level, like in VR, and I had respect for No because she seemed pretty level-headed and she had been around since the beginning and she was trying to be helpful, whenever like Elf was struggling. So the reason that I was gonna tell Jumblo last was because Sako actually told me that he divulged some personal stuff to Jumblo, and he immediately reported that to Elf. So it's like, okay, you gotta wait till the end, right? Because I don't want this getting spoiled if at any if possible. Because it really wasn't meant to be like the huge blow up that it was. So that was the reason that I was going to tell him later. And the reason I was going to tell No is because she herself, 35-year-old recovering heroin addict, is not the most mentally stable person. And she, like, absolutely adored Elf, right? So it's like, okay, I don't particularly know how you're going to react. In this, not in the same sense as Jumblo, but in the sense that, like, you might take it really hard. So I'd rather not do that to you. However, in my opinion, you have a right to know because of how long you've been around, and like the fact that you were trying to help her and everything. Like you kind of deserve to know. Hello, welcome back. And supposedly, what Jumblo said when Sako leaked everything to them, he was like, "Oh, the reason that he wants to tell me and No last is because he knows that we'll see through his lies." And I was like, okay, buddy. Like, not only did you insult my character, that you should, like, have some sense of, because we, again, like, talked some amount, and I am very straightforward all the time. It's like, you insulted my character. You, who are a self-admitted loser, whatever, on the internet, suddenly have this sense of arrogance, right? To assume that you, like, it just made me so fucking mad in that moment, and I will never I will never forgive him for that, because it was like everything wrong in one fell swoop, essentially. um and No would do a similar thing where I told her, she was relatively supportive, and like, oh yeah, like, yeah, that's a shitty thing that she did. I used to do, I did worse things when I was younger. I get it. And then she went into the elf server, the first one before it got nuked, and was like, oh, I'm 100% elf side. Fuck that bird guy. And again, it's not that I care that she, like, was not on my side, because I told people that I don't care to influence their opinion. I'm literally just telling you, right? You can form your own thought. It was that she literally lied to my face. Like, she put forward this fake, like, oh, yeah, I get what you mean. I'm supportive, or like, I'm neutral, right? Which is what she said. And then obviously was not. Like, you're just a coward. And that really pissed me off. So those two kind of, like, of all the people, it really rubbed me the wrong way. But yes, past that, because I was talking to all these people, eventually I went to Bean, right? And Bean was Captcha's friend. He was close to Captcha, because he really liked his sense of humor. He liked play games with him outside of the server, etc., etc. So I went into it with the assumption that Bean would tell me Captcha's perspective only, right? That's all that I thought he had to offer, and I kind of already knew, right? Like, at that point, I already had the proof, right? But Bean actually had way more information. Oh, this is actually a funny thing, but we can go back to it. Bean, the reason he knew anything at all was not because he was Captcha's friend. It was actually because, and this is in the write-up if you care to read it more accurately, it was because in November, he got pulled into a call with Elf, Shovel, and Lachlan. And they were like, Bean, you gotta help us. Your friend Captcha, he's like a fucking psychopath. He's like endlessly harassing Elf, and like, we need you to like go stealthily defuse this ticking time bomb, right? And this is a really funny thing that I left out of the write-up, because there was no place to really put it. It wasn't really necessary. However, I'll tell the story, and it is literally recorded, because when Bean got put into that call, he was playing CS. He was playing Counter-Strike 2, and he was recording his gameplay. So it's like 6 a.m. for this guy. He gets pulled into this call, and they're dumping all this shit on him, right? And they're saying that, can you like play games with him? So he starts like schizophrenically typing, like spamming Elf, and like threatening her, and blah blah blah. But then they started getting into what they wanted him to do as a more permanent solution. I didn't even intentionally word it that way, but one of the things that they said, mind you, that Bean is Finnish, right? He lives in Finland, and Captcha is New Zealand, right? Just keep that in mind for what I'm about to say. Shovel is like, okay, you know how you play Lethal League with him, or Lethal Company with him, right? And for Lethal Company, you can download mods as a .exe. we need you to like play a session with him and just fucking essentially hack his computer, which would have been an international felony because it's a foreign agent hacking a citizen of another country. So they were like, yeah, just like zip bomb his computer to like remove any of the personal information. They didn't even say like straight up. They were kind of dodging a lot of stuff. They were like, yeah, just like eviscerate his computer. And Bean was like tired as hell. It's 6 a.m. and he says like he's like, so you're telling me that you want me to go after the guy who is supposedly like insane, like schizophrenic, and he's gonna know that it was me because it was like the last thing that happened before his PC would supposedly like explode, right? Or brick or whatever. And but also he could have all of this personal information on a phone, right? I think he specified a phone. And Shovel goes, this is an exact quote, I do not think CAPTCHA is smart enough to use something like OneDrive. And it was actually abysmal. And then he said that, right? And then in the like same line, in the same breath, or it might have been two different people. I think it was Shovel and Elf back to back, not him, but they were saying how it would be easy. Like you could just look up like a script online. You're like, yes, that part is easy. Obviously the social engineering part of it is difficult, but like they were saying how it was easy and like not a big deal. And then, but you literally just admitted to being tech illiterate. Like, you don't know how to use OneDrive? What are you you're telling me, from Bean's you're telling Bean to go hack this dude's computer to delete very specific files or otherwise like break his entire computer, right? And it was just so crazy. And like, because again, in her final tweet, one of the things that she said was, I never threatened to, dox people even though I know their information. I never, blah, 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 right? Well, you did try to literally commit a felony, like an international felony. And also in that same call, Shovel said if he could, he would kill CAPTCHA. That's also a direct quote. So it's like, okay, you're being disingenuous at best, right? And that's kind of the entire theme of the whole thing, is if you actually read what she is saying, it's very much malicious and disingenuous at best. So, and, oh yeah, you don't actually know. So, Lachlan, Shovel, CAPTCHA are all implicated. They all happened at the same time. Essentially what happened was she was sending shit to all three of them. Then one day, I guess they were sitting in VC and they're like, I got something that could probably sink her entire streaming career, right? And I think Shovel said it first, and then Lachlan was like, oh, I think I have something too. And CAPTCHA's like, oh, I think I got something too. So they all get in a call and they realize that they all got like duped in the same way, right? They all got relatively the same treatment. And CAPTCHA was the one to like have a crash out, which is why he got absolutely slandered to oblivion. Now the part that I was stomped on for the longest time was like Lachlan left the server and Shovel eventually got banned. Why would you go back to help this person against CAPTCHA? Because you would know that he's not actually crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it didn't make any sense. And I think that's what CAPTCHA felt too. He thought that they were like brothers in arms in a way, like, oh, we all got kind of fucked over. So he would obviously like complain, and I guess they took some of the stuff he said as like actual threats or schizophrenia. And that's why they went back to help her, but it's just like you could have just wiped your hands and walked away. You know, I didn't really get it. Yeah. So
I
Bean had essentially all of that information, and he had all of the, you know, the calls that they had, all of that information. Like, because he was trying to sort shit out between Elf and all these people, um, and Captcha. He was trying to figure out because this is how, you know, if you don't think that she was slandering people, Bean, who was Captcha's friend, relatively speaking, going into his conversation with Captcha, once he found out all this stuff, he thought that Captcha was going to be the more insane one, that he was going to be the one lying, and he needed to cross-reference to make sure that he wasn't lying about stuff, which was incredibly ironic because Elf is the pathological liar. So that's how much like she fucking eviscerated that guy's like the mental image he had of Captcha. So like you know, it wasn't like, you know, like the typical internet or VTuber like breakup where they just say the other person was kind of shitty. It was like literally character assassination of this guy, you know?
pulling out all the big guns.
Yeah, the big guns was admitting to yet another felony
Yeah,
on
that-
Twitter. Another felony offense. But yeah, that's the majority of the story. The overview.
The, so at this point, you already released your document, or that
No,
came?
I was writing it still.
Okay. So then you release it.
So one of the things that happened was I wanted to focus on the things I'm talking about, the things I'm highlighting now, right? That she's a manipulative person. She assassinates people's characters, you know, slanders them when they have their inevitable falling out. And people should be aware of that if they choose to go into, you know, deal with her, right? But before I was done writing it, you know, Sako leaked everything, right, to try to get back on her good side. So what she chose to do, she did a couple of things. She got really mad at Bean, and they had like a final talk. And you know, we went through those logs, and that's where some of the craziest like jumps in logic happen. I can go over those after. But what she did in the server was she posted at everyone in the Vets channel, which is her like inner group, I guess, of people that she liked. And before I get into what she posted, it's short, but before that, the whole Vets thing, oh man. Um, so everyone knows who Yuko is. Everyone knows what she used to be. Um, And one of the major downfalls or major reasons for her downfall was she had a like inner circle of friends within her own server, all the way back. And obviously that kind of like rubs people the wrong way at best. At worst, it becomes a whole like groomer circle or whatever, right? So I always pushed her away from that. I remember in the editor server, she was saying that she wanted to make a private server with just her friends, or quote unquote friends, which she ended up doing after the first server blew up, I think, and then deleted it after again. Um, and I was like, don't do that because, you know, I think the editor at the time also was not particularly aware of like the implications and like what, you know, what it looks like from the outside. It's like, just don't do that. Just fucking keep that shit in your server. You know, it doesn't, or like have it not on your fucking main account, right? If you're going to do that, just don't even. I always pushed in that direction. And the reason that the vets got created was after it was after like some people got their accounts reported and limited. Um, so it was like, okay, you can't just say whatever you want anymore. And that kind of sucks. And it's like any normal person, which is kind of either use coded language in such a way or just not do it at all. But instead, it's like, okay, we can have this system where it's like a vouch system, and you can type in these technically locked channels to rant to your audience that have been vetted so that they are less likely to just report your shit, right? That was the entire purpose. It was for people who thought that this person was cool. Okay, give them the thing. It's not like a big deal. It doesn't really mean anything. The whole time I was trying to be like, you guys realize that by the end goal is to have the majority of people being vets, and like the general place is for people just coming in and like shuffling in. But it literally, like, within a week devolved into, okay, everything needs to go through her. Because, like, someone would be like, this guy's cool. I'd be like, okay, he seems cool to me. I'll add him in. And then she'll be drunk and be like, who the fuck is that guy? I don't recognize that guy. Kick him. Right? So it became like this whole, it became what it should not have. That was, that irritates me to this day. Because
inner humor circle.
yeah, like that's, and like it didn't start that way. It was not supposed to, and then people were like, "Oh, it's so annoying," because that was all on her. That was literally her choice. Like she wanted that the whole time, and she chose to do it in the end. But what she added everyone that was a vet, and she goes like, "Oh, blah blah blah," you know, this average bird guy, I like rejected him and he took it poorly, and he's been like putting together his document about me, and he was like a groomer and blah blah blah, and, whatever, right? She put it out a thing that was essentially slander again. So it was like, okay, well, I was just going to talk about how you were essentially a shit person. Now I have to tell the entire story that I just told you. In more detail with evidence, because it needs to be there or else no one will believe you. Now I have to make this huge thing. And it was so incredibly annoying because it didn't need to be that. Like every single instance where she could have saved herself, her inability to take any blame just ended up shooting herself in the foot. Because now it's like, okay, you accuse me of something terrible, so I'm going to put all of the effort in to disprove what you said, right? And so it took me a few extra days, and then after that, I released it. I posted on Twitter because she deleted her Discord. I don't know why. Okay, well now I only got one. It's like, well, I could not post it because it goes against what I said, but also, like, come on, like, the whole point was that people needed to know, and I was only going to do it in vets because those were the people who were closest to her, or like, were probably being picked from, right? So now you made it a bigger thing than it needed to be, right? Shot herself in the foot again. Yeah, that's essentially the summary of the whole thing. Yeah,
and what was the reception of this document?
It got a lot of traction on Twitter. I think it has, like, if you look now, it probably has like 300,000 views or something. But all of that was gained within like the first week, I would say. And the general reception was, lol, parasocialism bad, and 2, this guy is probably being disingenuous despite all the evidence being there. And 3, this is a nothing burger. I think those were the general prevailing thoughts. And then she did her 1-hour rebuttal where she didn't even read from the document. This is the scummiest thing. I'll tell you. I never got a chance to like put this in writing. There was a couple people trying to like what's the word? Like be a liaison. What is the word? Like they were trying to facilitate like discussion, right? Between parties. Yeah, so one of these people, so I had the logs from her first deleted account, which had like a lot of the sexual stuff towards me, right? I had that. She deleted the account, so she obviously doesn't have those. Um, which, man, yeah, we can ramble about that after. But so I had those, and that's where I got a lot of the screenshots from. That was one thing that Rima said, I think, that really pissed me off, was just reading the comments. I don't know how she phrased it, but the comments were like, one of the. It does seem weird that he was collecting evidence the entire time, or like as early on as he did. It's like, no, I just remembered keywords for the weird shit that happened, and I searched it when I exported the logs. What do you mean? It's not like I was like actively looking for her to fail. Oh, that really pissed me off. I don't know how she worded it, because again, I didn't actually go through the whole video. I just was like reading the comments and just seeing all the stuff that she got wrong just from the comments. It was kind of abysmal, but
Isn't that
it
how
is what it is, I
drama
guess.
content works in general? You just nitpick whatever seems to get
It wasn't
the most
even it wasn't even
traction.
nitpicking, because like some of it was just outright wrong. Like she was saying like Sokka was an admin. Like where did you even get that information from? It doesn't matter who they were. You know, it just mattered that they were in the community at all. It didn't particularly matter what role they had. Like if she was only going after people who were her mods, or you know, like I don't know where that information even came from. You know, Merrick got the same treatment, even though it was technically true, which is really funny. Um, I guess it is how drama stuff works. Yeah, I don't know.
So you think
Just kind of
the
go
reception
on.
was a bit unfair?
Yeah, of course, but it was always going to be that way, right? Because it's me, human male against human female on the internet. Um, it was never going to be in my favor. She could have literally killed someone, or like, you know, sexually assaulted a child. Like it literally would not have mattered, or like people would have chosen her side or taken her side to literally spite people that they think are just white knighting, right? Like it's so deranged. Um, the like absolute loops and logic people will take to try to defend or like simp for a girl on the internet. I don't really get it. Um, because those same people will then in the same breath complain that like modern society is terrible, or like women in modern society are terrible, but then they'll turn around and like white knight for girls they don't even know on the internet. I really don't get it.
Was there any criticism that you thought was fair?
um the most fair criticism was that, you know, the being a savior friend is bad, which I know. You know, and I explained to you the trap that I put myself in mentally at the beginning, right? Like, I understand. And, but also, like, obviously, people wouldn't know that, right? Wouldn't know what I said here, which is that, like, I kind of just generally try to help people, right? Of either gender, for no reason, no, like, discernible end goal or anything, right? It's just like,
Just
and
for
I have
the
my own personal reasons for, yeah, I have my own personal reasons for doing that, but from the surface level, it's just kind of like, oh, you know, for the lulz, like, or this guy's a piggy bank, or like whatever. You can think whatever derogatory version of that you want, but to insinuate that I bought my mod position and I only did it for, you know, trying to groom a VTuber is absolutely disingenuous. And while it's true that no one would know that from just Twitter or that post, um, it kind of shows what I was saying, right? Like there was no chance that people would ever take my side over hers because she's a girl on the internet. Because why would you assume bad faith on my part but good faith on hers when the evidence is that she was acting poorly? That doesn't make any sense, because if you were being logical, if you were being reasonable, you would assume neutrality, or you would assume bad faith on both sides, or you know what I mean, right? Like it's skewed in such a way that it doesn't make any sense.
I can't really expect that from people nowadays.
I guess. I don't know. I did try to keep everything very strict and like straightforward, no bias, like journalistic integrity is what I called it. And people laugh at that, but like it was. I included only things that needed to be included, right? Like that's why some of the stuff is coming out now, and I have to preface that I excluded it because I did for her benefit. Like yeah, I don't know. I guess yeah, I think the general takeaway was that it was kind of a nothing burger because people were kind of expecting it in a sense, like, oh, head mod is a groomer, who to guess, you know, like that type of thing.
Yeah, it does happen like way more often than you think. Like Shondo said in that one tweet, and then she did it herself.
She got really angry at that tweet. I think that tweet spelled the like end for me, dude. Like I genuinely think that.
Oh, God,
she got really upset at that tweet.
Marriage.
Yeah, Shondo screwed me, dude. I guess maybe she saved me. I don't know. Saved me from getting drawn out another year. Yeah. Shondo saved me some time. Thanks, Shondo. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Shondo.
Thanks, Shondo.
Is this the takeaway from this video? Thank you, Shondo.
Yeah, TLDR. Don't drink. Thanks, Shondo, and women.
Women.
Yeah, women coffee.
Just women.
Yeah.
I love women. Opposed to popular belief, apparently.
Dude, that's what I say, man. Everyone just thinks I'm gay. It's like, no, bro. Just like, what are you talking about? Hello?
I'm not gay. I just
So,
act gay.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
just a big trust.
What's the word? To recap.
Wrap it up? I mean, I got lots of stuff to ramble.
To recap, what do you think are her major sins in all of this?
I think the thing, because it was near the end when I finally released it, people didn't get to it. If you want to open it and like go to the like last 25%, the screenshots of the things that she was saying, the thing that is bad about her, I'll tell you exactly. I'll summarize it, and if she somehow gets word of this or, you know, like whatever, maybe she can take it to heart and she'll come back a better sociopathic groomer herself than she used to be. Because so I was literally debating this in my head before you called me. I was like, should I call out what it is exactly? Because then she could fix it. Then it would be a problem.
Edit it out, worst case.
Yeah, because that was like part of the schizophrenia. When I was talking to Bean, you know, he is more autistic than me. He was making sure that every possible out that she could have had, we accounted for, essentially. We thought through every scenario. The first time I called him to talk, it was like an 18-hour call. We didn't sleep, you know? And it was like weeks of us like working through like maybe she's just an idiot, like giving her benefit of the doubt on everything, and it just never added up. And we both kind of we had this feeling of like, oh, not euphoria, but like he described it as like you're seeing like a great storm, or like the end of the world is approaching and there's nothing you can do about it. And I described it as like, you know, the film archetype where someone unknowingly, he tries to do the good, or he or she tries to do the correct thing, but they end up raising like the Antichrist. And like by the time they realize it's too late and no one believes them. That's how I felt. Because it's like, this person is like the most cookie cutter sociopath imaginable, right? And if she were actually intelligent, like if she was a fully matured Antichrist, like it would be truly terrible, because you kind of have to, they never really go away, and they genuinely hurt people in like palpable ways, right? Like tangible ways. But yeah, I'll explain to you what I think she is. And some of the people in the community, like Shovel, and they're the same type, which is probably why she liked them. But essentially, what she is she's just a sociopath who happens to also be a narcissist. That's kind of why she was always shooting herself in the foot, if you pay attention. Um, Essentially, she would tell a lie to cover her ass, but she does it in such a way where she has to be faultless. Do you know what I mean? So, oh,
Sounds like a movie.
I never sent explicit images to anyone. Oh, but actually, those are AI. Oh, but those are real. But they're technically CSAM because I was underage at the time. Okay, but I lied about that. You know, so like it's like a constant dribble of garbage because she's bad at lying and she's not particularly intelligent. Um, that she gets caught up in her own lies very easily, right? And that's kind of what happened at the end there because she didn't understand that she admitted to a felony. And then she had to backtrack after already committing to that line of play. Um, but she does that constantly, right? Like, what what other examples can I give you? She when she caught wind of it, you know, decided to call me a groomer, which was not true. So then that shot herself in the foot, maybe even unknowing to her, but it did. Because then I had to put everything. You know, when oh, I didn't even talk. I completely derailed. But one of the guys who was mediating, when he was talking to her, she said in full confidence, just ask Bird for the logs. You'll see that I'm right. Right? She said that with confidence. So he comes over and he's like, dude, I'm kind of having doubts, right? So I'm like, oh my god, what did she say to this guy? You know, I've told him everything. I've shown him what I had to. Okay, you know what? Here's the logs. And he like he read them. He was one of two people. Bean was the other one to go through the logs to see everything for what it was. And he was like, dude, I don't know why she said so confidently to let me see the logs because this just like proves you were right the whole time. Like it didn't make sense for her to confidently say that because it didn't vindicate her
She
in any
didn't
way.
expect him to actually read it.
Yeah, no, but no, she kind of did. So here's the scummy thing that I skipped over, right? That same person, um, he got in a call with her to essentially explain to her all of the things that didn't line up and the parts where she lied, right? He wanted to point out all the parts that she lied because he was trying to help her be like a better person or whatever, right? And lo and behold, she wasn't actually listening to anything that he was saying. She was too busy screenshotting to slander me further in her 1 hour rebuttal. All of those screenshots that she took out of context was from their call, where she said that she was not recording anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little tidbit. All of those screenshots that she took, the main one that looks really bad, I think it was like me saying that she needed a caretaker. Let me explain to you again the image that was put forth, right? She is a schizophrenic person living on her own, mentally unwell, drinks a lot of alcohol, is not medicated. Now, in private DMs and in some group chats, even in the server at some points, she would say all the time that she is having audio hallucinations. And if you know anything about schizophrenia, if you are presenting with audio hallucinations, that is like the worst time. Like you are almost likely to neck yourself, right? Or harm yourself in some way. So it's like, okay, dude, you either need to figure this shit out or you need a caretaker. And I think even in that message, I was saying it doesn't have to be me, which like it looks bad out of context, obviously. But like that's what we are working with here, right? And it's not like I'm not a medical professional. I have friends who are medical professionals and I talk to them, right? And they say these things. And I bring them back and relay because I'm not a medical expert, but I do know, you know, what I just said about audio hallucinations and blah 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 blah, right? Like, I was genuinely trying. Another example of me genuinely trying. You know how she says that she has really long fingers, right? And she does if you watch her like her streams. That is indicative of a like genetic condition, right? It's the one where you're like triple jointed, you're really flexible, because your actual like bodily cartilage is like less formed. So you're more flexible, but you are more prone to things like scoliosis, et cetera, et cetera. When I was talking to one of my medical friends, his friend actually proposed a completely different thing, but he was like so on point. It was crazy. In the end, he said that it might be this other similar appearing genetic disposition. I forget what it's called. I could probably find it if I really search for it. The difference is that one is a result. It results in vitamin B2 deficiency, or B12, one of the two. I think it's B12. I always get it mixed up. Which is the one that's responsible for. It's the one that's responsible for coating your nerves so you don't go fucking insane, right? And for forming DNA, I think. I might be wording that incorrectly, but my point is that if you have a deficiency in vitamin B2, what symptoms do you have? You have insomnia, you have vivid hallucinations, things that she supposedly presented with, right? So when I was like in the UK, I was like, here is these supplements for vitamin whatever. I remember looking it up at the time. I gave her like a whole complex. Just take this shit. Maybe you'll get better. We'll see, right? Like, I was trying the point is I was trying very hard here to like find and solve whatever issue was there, or at least like test, right? Because she was very adamant about not going to the doctor, blah 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 blah, right? So like, yeah, I don't know. All the people who just assume bad faith from me, but good faith on her, you're just biased. There's no logic there. I don't really get it.
Do you think
but yeah,
her illness somehow absolves her of her behavior?
no. The objective take is no. All it does is trap people, right? And this happens, with I don't know if you guys have had that experience of, someone who is like, dude, if you break up with me, or dude, if you are no longer, if you don't help me with this, like, I'm just gonna kill myself, right? Like, people who do that, who like hold you hostage. And at the end of the day, like, once you've dealt with it enough times, you kind of realize that most of the time it's an empty threat. Even if it's not an empty threat, it's not your problem, right? And because if you make it your problem, then you're stuck, right? Which she never, I don't think she outright said that type of thing, but that's to answer your question. Yeah. The objective answer is no. Her mental illness does not absolve her of anything. Neither does her age. Because she tried to pull that card a lot. If you actually notice in her age regression tweet, as I'll call it, because I don't know what else it fucking is, it's one of the deleted replies that people were reposting, where she was like, oh, I only sent them to people my age. But then, during the initial controversy, she was claiming that everyone was a 30-year-old groomer, when half of them were 18 to 20 or less. So it's like, okay, you are just lying outright and then expecting people to not double check your history, like, at all. Like, and like her saying that she lied about her age, but she's been tweeting about her quote unquote fake age for like the last 2 years. Like, literally the tweet before it was, I'm 21 now, or whatever. Like, literally the tweet right before it. It's like what? What are you doing?
Speaking of like timeline wise, I didn't really catch much of it, but between you releasing the document and her rebutting it and whatever, and her deactivating her account now, there was like a year of not much happening, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
what else happened that to lead to the present
Yeah, like
events?
the last couple weeks
So
or months that actually led to
it
her
was
deactivating.
I don't actually know. I was not, I was being genuine when I said that I'm kind of just fucking off, and I wasn't like incessantly looking up to see her downfall or whatever. I didn't particularly care, but people would send me things. Um, I don't know what she at some point got all of those like dedicated hater accounts, right? Who were just like reposting her pics and like doxing her. Well, soft doxing because people don't really know what that word means, but like your first name and face pictures that you posted on the internet does not constitute but like they were reposting those pictures, and I think I know 100% who leaked her stuff initially, and it's very ironic because it was someone in her talks with Bean. She was like, "Oh yeah, that person's fine. I trust them," even though everyone else kind of knew, right? Like this person's bad news bears. So that initial leak happened, and I guess for to be strict with my stance on everything, I won't say the exact like message because people can just search. But it was accompanied by a specific message. Um, but yeah, I think I know who leaked, and I know who is spreading them. Not personally, not to like a point where I could take legal action, but just like of the initial people that I confirmed of, I think I know. Um, and she definitely alluded to that person because in her final like semi-threatening tweet, um, where she was like, "Oh, I never threatened anyone." Um, yeah, so I think that happened. Otherwise, I don't remember. I don't remember. People definitely told me stuff. There was some. She obviously had her donathon. She had her thing where she got kicked out of her house for having a cat, which I told her not to do because she, in the last few months before I left, she was like, "Oh yeah, should I like get a cat?" And I was like, "Doesn't your like living place not allow pets? You should probably just wait." And then she was like, "Should I move to London and get a cat?" It's like, "Don't you not have that much money?" Like, don't moving to like the most expensive city in the country to own a pet is kind of ridiculous. Also, finding a place that lets you have an animal might still be hard because it's London. Like yeah, it was just very funny seeing all the stuff devolve like as soon as I left, because people like no kind of just roll over, right? They don't really push back on anything. They just let her do whatever she wants.
Yeah, but I
I
know
heard from people.
she
Go on.
recently graduated. Why is that?
Elf.
Yeah, like
Um,
what happened?
from what I have my own personal theory. I'm so the it's really annoying because people are like, "Oh, she got harassed off of the platform for coming out as half Pakistani because she appealed to her right-wing chud audience," which is not true, right? It's not a sympathetic reason that she deactivated again. She got caught doing the same thing. That was part of it, right? She got caught doing the same thing with if you look through the hater accounts, I think that still exist, you will see someone calling out a very specific user and that she flew him out to London or whatever. I think internally, like not made publicly, internally that was revealed to be true. And that person did not like, they're not going to release like a whole thing like I did, which like it doesn't really matter, right? Like people already knew, like he already knew too. I don't know why he would be upset. That's literally what I asked. Like someone told me that, and I was like, well, why was this person crashing out? Because they should have already known. right? Like, what's the problem? Yeah, supposedly she got caught doing the same thing but worse, like flying people out. She had like a real IRL boyfriend that she was essentially cheating with. Like she was flying people out when he was away, is what I was told. Um, but she got caught for that. I don't know how that relates to her age regression tweet, nor do I understand, like, I don't really know why she went out in such a way. Because obviously it kind of stains her already poor reputation. And it makes any sort of comeback difficult
I
because she
feel like
essentially. Yeah.
how I understood her like age regression tweet, as we call it, is she just
Uh,
wanted to scare off people of reposting all her
can you give
leaked
me the
nudes.
context? I don't know what this age
Um.
regression
Oh yeah,
tweet is.
so
Yeah.
she posted a
So
tweet.
yes, go.
Yeah, okay, so she posted a tweet saying that, oh yeah, by the way, all those nudes that you leaked of me, I took those when I was 17 actually, and not 19 as you thought I was. So she was like, "Oh,
Yes.
haha, gotcha, you're all sharing CSAM now," not understanding that she willingly sent those out herself first, which is also bad. So the next day
And
she
she
then
admitted to
posted
lying.
another tweet. Oh, I lied
Yeah.
about my lie about my age.
I have that tweet. I don't have the other one on hand.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah.
the second
So,
one.
Okay, so
yeah, that's the second one.
she was just lying. So
She was lying about essentially maliciously posting CSAM of herself because she was also admitted to lying about her age. So it's like that's not the gotcha that you think it is, even if it was true, because like if she were to literally go with legal ramifications and pursue these people, they could just say, well, you pretended to be of age, like that's not that's not my fault, or like at least it's a lesser charge than what she is alleging,
I don't
right?
know. Depends on
Yeah.
the country, I guess.
In the UK and in the States, it's certainly not like the clean catch that she thinks it was. And it was such a ridiculous tweet that when she posted this reply, right? I saw like Maedara posted it. I saw the words "I lied" and I assumed that she was doubling down, that she was underage. I did not realize that she was saying she was walking it back because I didn't read the whole post. Um, because that's such a crazy play, right? Like, why would you? She probably just didn't know, but like, then she's just an idiot. Like, why would you admit to that? Because not only is it like you can't even feign ignorance because you admitted to knowingly lying about your age and then send it. So that's malicious. Like you're screwed in a court context. Um,
Yeah, I feel like she was just getting desperate, trying to scare the people of sharing them more. I'm pretty sure she did say something about that as well in the second tweet. Yeah,
yeah, she did. She did.
I lie to scare them, is what she said.
So basically,
Yeah,
she
but like,
graduated
uh
because her nudes leaked, and then
Yeah, I
well,
feel
she
like
she got caught doing.
that, and
Go
then
on.
the backlash of these tweets just got worse.
Yes. She got caught doing the same thing. The haters like posting revenge porn is like that's been happening, right? Like um so I have a theory because to me it seemed like she wanted people to stop posting images of her face. And I think that's because so before she deleted her account cuz I was scrolling her Twitter, she had a tweet that was like, haha, I had to hide my cutting scars from the police. And the next tweet was like, oh, I have mandatory counseling at my uni or something, right? So it seemed like it was related to that. But in my head, it's like, okay, well, what if what if people are like anonymously tipping off the country police or her school because she has doxed herself. I remember this happening. Um, in a really dumb way. It was she was she would go outside in VC with her mic on, and I would usually like be there to mute her if she like starts talking to like the lady at the register or whatever, so she doesn't accidentally like say her full name or like address or something. But I wasn't there, or I wasn't at my computer. I was at like work or something, and she was asking the bus driver if the bus went to this specific location, or yeah, like this specific thing, which she, she, when I told her like, hey, you're an idiot, she said like, oh, it's just like a chain shopping thing in the country. But I don't remember who was in that call. But like, if anyone was paying attention and had malicious intent, they could very easily like, she essentially just full doxed herself. So, my theory is the reason she, she's trying to get all these people to stop posting her face and like otherwise recognizable features, etc. Because like, people are doing their investigations, and it would be a lot worse than just getting kicked out of school, because she would also be deported because she's on student visa.
You think she'll?
That seems like the most plausible.
You think she'll come back in some way in the Vtuber sphere?
I don't know what else she would do, honestly. It's not like she could have a job, or hold a job, I should say. Getting a job is not the hard part. Holding it down is the hard part,
Yeah, it's
Speaking of-
an interesting job economy at the moment, to say the least.
Well, hey, I don't,
But yeah, I gotta say,
Depends
if she does come back either as Elfin or makes a new persona on trying for a new start or whatever, this time she'll have to record a cover sometime.
Yeah.
And you will be there.
And I will be there.
Yeah, you'll charge your premium for full price.
I'll charge her again for a cover.
You didn't charge her, you charged me. It was all me.
That was you. I mean, yeah.
Well,
It
that
was a good cover, though.
that was a big shit show.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's lots of stuff that I missed out on, like the clear evidence of the manipulative tactics. That's all in the write-up at the bottom, near the bottom, if you want to read it or look at it. Some of the stuff is not in there, like the hacking story and all, but it's very funny to talk about. So
Okay, I want to ask the following question, and I want you to think about it. Do you think you have any sins in this situation? Like, did you do everything right?
I think that the reason I'm answering quickly is because I already thought this through, and I already like expressed it in other places. I feel like, especially because here I've explained to you my thought processes at the time too, like in the moment. I felt like I made I did what I thought was right at every given opportunity.
So
That doesn't mean that I am sinless, but that doesn't mean everyone will agree with what I did, but it is like I'm able to explain all of my decisions and what I chose to do, right? And all of it had a purpose, all of it had like a goal, right? It wasn't just like willy-nilly, like, oh, and I'm retroactively saying that. It is like I was thinking things through, because to me it was like, okay, there's just like someone's life over here, Life, not wife, just to be clear. I had to have to make it clear. Same thing. Yeah, because like Bean will be like, yeah, you should have just like never interacted at all, right? You should have just like, that's kind of weird to send people shit like that, just leave. It's like, yeah, but in the moment, it was like,
would have probably been the most like professional way to just be like, hey, please don't. I'm here for this and this reason.
So
and if it happens again, you leave.
You completely reject the groomer allegations.
Yes. I did not have any intentions coming in. The only intentions that I had were to be like to her benefit because I would have cut it off later, which is what I said. Which obviously no one's gonna believe that, including you guys probably. Um yeah, so it was yeah, like everything kind of hinged on this person is mentally unwell, but they just are presenting like someone who is decent, who just needs like a friend to set them on a path, and then they're good to go. So I probably would have disappeared in like a year if she was truly trying to be sober and blah blah blah, right? Because if she had done the correct thing, right, with the momentum that she had, I think she could have been like a very decently sized streamer, like more so than she was,
How many
or even more so
subscribers
than she already
How
was.
many subscribers did she have?
She had some like 20K, but she was averaging like 3 to 500 CCV. But 500 was more when she was doing hand cam streams because people want to, So it was a bit skewed. But I think
Yeah,
if she did,
had like 1 or 200K followers on Twitter as well.
she
which
had
is way more
109K. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
to
let's be real.
Vtuber.
Twitter followers don't mean too much.
Yeah, that was so. There was when I was talking to people, so one person's friend who was also like a small VTuber. That was one of the things that she was very envious of, was that Elf got a lot of art, and I do attribute that, in postmortem. I do attribute that because again, at the time, I would never take credit for anything, because it didn't matter, right? But now it's like, okay, well, I'll stroke my own ego, like because of where we all came from, right? Like we are actual VTuber watchers. We had the whole idol thing that happened before that company just like died. In terms of like helping VTubers keep momentum or like get momentum, commissioning art's like one of the biggest things, right? And
True.
I commissioned a lot of art to start. That got a lot of artists to notice her. They drew her stuff for free. That was one of the things that like, this person's friend was very envious of, because yeah, like I remember we were even talking about it in regards to like idol VTubers back in the day. It's like, people were using like AI art and shit because they didn't have any fan art, and it was like very depressing because they didn't have anything. They have fan art, and then that attracts people. They can also use the fan art for thumbnails or whatever. Yeah, that was one of the things. What was the other one? I lost my train of thought because I was rambling. But yeah, I guess just continue.
She was quite successful on her views.
Yeah, 20K is nothing to...
Yeah, in regards to Twitter, that was the other thing that I don't think she truly understood. She had an absurdly high conversion rate from things like Shorts and Twitter. Like, if the average person gets 0.1%, she probably got at least double, right? I don't know why. I don't think I told her that, and I was like, that's actually kind of crazy, because we would ask, and there would be people like, oh, I came from the Goon tweet, or I came from the this specific short. And to me, it was very different, because yeah, like usually their shorts audience doesn't carry over. Twitter is tiny, and it was for her, but it was much bigger than anyone else that I knew of, right? So she kind of squandered a lot. Yeah, that was kind of my final like melancholic. Like I don't have sympathy for her because she's shown herself to be like a sociopathic narcissistic person, right? Like with malicious intent, and like she is the type that's willing to lie about anything for the smallest of victories, right? Like I think that final string of tweets proves that point better than anything. She is willing to essentially invoke the like collective wrath of anyone who hates the idea of a pedophile and cast that onto people who and just lie about it, to like send armies of people to like, go find out whomever, maybe show up at their house, burn their house to the ground. Like, it was, and all of it was essentially to fucking own the haters or whatever, right? Like, it was so amoral. Like, why? It was for nothing, relatively speaking. To lie about something so serious to essentially get that tiny of a victory, to me, I think that highlights the point I'm trying to make. Like, she is a bad person.
Kind of summarizes her personality.
Yeah, like that happens so often. Like I think in some of the screenshots, it there's like a comment she made about her, like how she like jerks off to her dead dad. Like, obviously that's kind of a lie, because I don't think either her dad or her stepdad is deceased. So like, lying about your family member passing is kind of already crazy. And I remember she also had that same lie when she was talking to Captcha in like a jerk off contest. They were both kind of lying, because he was saying that he had some like medical condition which he had gotten, I don't think he had. And she was saying, "Oh well, my dad is dead too," and blah blah blah. Like, it was like a jerk off competition of who could lie the most about how sad their life was, which is again crazy, because like, it's for nothing essentially. You're willing to lie so gravely for nothing.
For those virtual internet points.
Not even, because it was like a one-on-one conversation.
Oh yeah, true.
It's insane. That to me is like the true, because very few people are like that. Like, I don't know how many sociopaths you've dealt with, like IRL or on the internet, to like be able to pick up on how crazy people are.
Most of
But
my
like,
experience with sociopaths comes from watching Golden Kamuy. Really good anime, by the way. Really well written sociopath.
What anime?
oh man,
Golden Kamuy.
yeah,
It's
I
the
don't
one
know.
where
No, I haven't
of-
watched it.
and war where they look for the gold of the indigenous people.
I haven't watched it.
Yeah, you should watch. It's pretty good.
It's really good.
But
It's sometimes a bit more gay than JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but it's also better, so it's worth it.
yeah, I guess, yeah. Like, I feel like a lot of the people replying to the tweet initially, or like even now, who are defending her, "Oh, she's just a misunderstood girl." Like, no, you do not interact with enough people to know how truly like dangerous of a person she could be. It is very fortunate that she is dumb. She is not actually smart enough
You don't
to
understand,
abuse.
It's just a girl.
Yeah, she's just a girl. Like, no, dude, that's not true. Like, are you seeing the things that she's typing? She's literally accusing people of being a groomer because she got caught in her own little like web of stupidity. Like, why should other people be punished for her being dumb? Like, the being sympathetic to Capture thing, that was me. Like, she had buried his reputation so much that, like, upon seeing the evidence that he gave to Bean, because they conversed, right? He was showing some of the stuff that he was sending her, and I was like, this isn't that bad. Because, mind you, this is someone who like grew up on 4chan. It's like, I expect you to be kind of thick-skinned, even though obviously she wasn't at the end of the day. But like, being threatened all over the internet is kind of whatever, right? And I was reading and I was like, these aren't even that creepy. These aren't that bad. Like, yeah, you shouldn't be threatening people over the internet, but I don't expect her to throw such a big fit over these types of messages, right? And I was the one who was like, hey, Bean, like, what do you think of the theory that she heavily over exaggerated Captcha's role into, or like his schizophrenia, so that like, when push comes to shove, she can just bury Captcha, and then Shovel and Lachlan kind of get off scot-free. Lachlan wasn't in the server anymore, whatever, but like Shovel, like, if it ever came up, then it's like, oh, it's all Captcha's fault, or whatever. And we had to like entertain that theory for a long while. Now, I think, just based on capture. Like I think he like sped ran a his own document like while she was doing the hour-long rebuttal, where it was like schizophrenic. It was like in some tweet reply, and it was just like cobbled together in like an hour. So she did slander him and like bury him in the fucking dirt, but it ended up being kind of true eventually, right? But I was the only one to like give any sort of doubt towards any sort of benefit of the doubt towards him. So like it's just crazy how people they don't see the irony, right? Like of saying essentially that this person can do no wrong because I like them, and these people can do no right because they are opposing. Like that's such a it makes no sense.
A very like one-sided, biased view.
I mean, it happens when you're a fan of a content creator.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really. I mean, you can't fault them for it, but it like you can understand why they would do it. I think.
Yeah. I'm
Really?
not.
Yeah,
I mean,
like you'll lose track of like objectively taking a step back and looking at it from the outside when you're in it yourself, or someone close to you is. Like not saying they're valid, but it's understandable how people react that way.
But usually people react that way in the VTuber sphere because some random burner account comes out of nowhere and is like, "Hey, here's like a no evidence like general twit like 200 letter Twitter dump about how this person's like a pedophile or something like egregious, right? With no proof." And it's like, "Okay, you can't really take that person at face value." But it's like, "Okay, here's me posting this thing with evidence in your face and it's not cropped out of context or anything.
Yeah.
Like the context, like even if I posted our entire Discord log, which I can't because it has people's personal information, like even if I posted you had all the context in the fucking world, it wouldn't have made the messages I chose any better. Like it wouldn't matter, right? Like
yeah,
I
but
don't know. I feel like in the face of like
people usually like to give the benefit of the doubt to content creators they like, so
People also choose to
Only
believe
women.
the truth
I don't know.
that they
It
want to
takes.
believe.
That's true.
I think it takes time to change people's minds.
Well,
hearts.
Greg, let me
Or
posit this to you. What, like, if because I can you even find a single example where a male content creator is accused of grooming or otherwise being a pedophile, where people will take their side, the majority, in the same fashion? 'Cause I don't think it exists.
Maybe not take their side, but ask him for at least seeing more evidence or hearing both
Johnny Depp.
sides of
Johnny
this.
Depp. That's not even true. No, people did not believe Johnny Depp.
Michael Jackson.
Are you sure?
I would say
I did
Michael
not
Jackson
see
people
a
did not believe.
ever side ever.
People to this day think Michael Jackson touched kids. It was
Uh,
only until the Home Alone kid was like, no, he was cool, like as an adult, that post mortem that people kind of let it go.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's what I mean. So
Or
like for a
is
it's like literally reversed,
just
right?
around to defend himself.
Oh, sorry, you cut out.
look at Trump.
That's for political reasons. That's different. That people have like a skin in the game. They gotta win their political gander. Okay, that's different. But I would argue, because I think this is like the ratio for the elf one was 70% of the people either don't care or they blame me versus her and she can do no wrong, and 30% of the people were like, yeah, this is either nothing or this the streamer just shouldn't be a streamer, they're an idiot, right? I would say it's the opposite if you're a male. It's like 70% of people are like, oh, that sucks, I really like that guy, guess I'll never watch him again, block. And then 30% are like, okay, we kind of need to see more evidence because these are some pretty hefty You know, it's pretty hefty. Like, I think Asmongold is dealing with that right now, or he was, where someone keeps reposting. Yeah, that they keep tweeting about how Asmongold is a pedophile because he was dating someone who quote unquote underage, but it was because it was like a translation error because the girl had been doing like OnlyFans or whatever for like 6 years, but the phrase in like Korean or Chinese or something was like forever 18, right? Like the Marine bit, forever 20 or whatever. So they posted that as her like IRL birth date on her like porn profile or whatever. So people assumed that she was underage, but she's like 26 or something or 30, whatever. Like it just happens all the time. People
25-year-olds are expired hags, but 26-year-olds are underage. Come on, make up your mind.
yeah, 26.
We truly live in a society.
That's partially not people's fault, I guess, but
sure,
like I'm just saying it's kind of unfair, man. It's kind of unfair, and people don't recognize it, and then they wonder why. That's true, but like I guess people do complain about life being unfair. But I'm just saying, like, look, if you're gonna be a simp and you're gonna ignore evidence and just proclaim whatever truth you want to believe, don't complain to me that, you know, society's gone down the toiler. You know, like you're actively making it worse. I'm sorry.
We live in a society.
We live in
a something society. Like that.
What do you get when you mix schizophrenic women and cute anime girls in society?
Yeah, I think people in general are kind of catching on though. It's just kind of a shame that Western English speaking VTubers turned into what they were. And I have a whole like personal vendetta in terms of that, but like I don't know, mentioning names. So calling out people that maybe don't deserve it, but
yeah,
I have my own.
You did a way different point of view on this.
I'm not sure what you're talking about, to be honest. But that's
no,
okay.
it's a very like overarching theme for Western VTubing, but
yeah, like the general theme of the story Western VTubing, and then this was the season of Elfinpsyop that now ended, and get ready for the next season when the next one starts.
Yeah,
you really
just
could
like
make
it sucks.
Series out of this. It's pretty funny.
Do you think anyone will listen to this entire thing?
No, I highly doubt it. But like they'll scrub it. They can read the transcript. If they scrub it, I'm not gonna.
Maybe some
give my whole
drama content
plot.
Creator looking to make a video.
I want to give my whole overarching thing.
They did upload.
I guess the summary,
like videos.
The summarization. You can attribute this to whomever you want. I attribute it to a very specific, prolific VTuber. I think that when it comes to Western EM VTubing, the mentality that the Western audience has, when it came to the Japanese audience, actually ruined it. What I mean is, when it came to people in Hollow, or small indie Japanese VTubers, they're just like, oh, they're pretty they have no like faults. They are more of the idol culture, and everything they do, it can kind of be explained away with, oh, you got to make money somehow, right? Now that's fine for the Japanese because they have like a sense of morality or like a sense of shame, right? That I don't think is very present in Western VTubing. Because if you pay attention to a lot of Western VTubers and you ask them, hey, why are you a VTuber? And they'll give you some answer like, I just always wanted to be a streamer and I love interacting with my audience. I love playing games on the internet. And I just do this for fun. okay, you do this for fun. Why are you paying a guy $1,000, per pay period to make YouTube shorts to get
Yeah.
views and try to build your audience? Why are you taking every sponsorship for companies that you never even heard of? Why are you hosting donathons like every other whenever just because you can?
Oh yeah,
It's like,
but sorry, didn't she
uh-huh.
graduate right after I Donathon?
Yes, but that was just by coincidence. A
So
very funny coincidence, right?
did you?
Because it makes it look like she ran away with the money. But
Yeah, that's
I
what
don't
I
think
was
those were.
thinking.
But then again, I wasn't there either, so can't really tell.
So
I think it was just bad luck
she
on her for her reputation.
Yeah, I mean, not like she'll need any reputation now.
Yeah, it's a bit like I said in somewhere I was like, man, she managed to speed run literally every bad thing a VTuber could do. Like, uh but yeah, like the what I was getting at is like, yeah, Western English speaking VTubers, to me, the majority of them seem to be in it for the money, and they're very money grubbing and
I feel like you're
excusing it
just
by
watching
saying,
the wrong ones,
uh-huh.
honestly, because I know a lot of them who are genuinely in it for the passion, and any like trying to make money off it is just so they can literally afford doing their hobby because they have bills to pay.
Okay,
Take like
how many of them keep their real life job?
some of them, not all of them. It's like
Yeah,
50-50 maybe.
see, see. Why are you pivoting to only streaming if you're not confident that you'll make enough money, It's because you
Because
you want it to be your main source of income and blah blah blah. Like I could rant about it for a while, but like if you pay attention to all the big Western English speaking VTubers, they're all pretty corporate despite being indie, and they all, they're just there to make money. Um,
I don't know. That seems
now
like
well,
a
that's
very cynical look on
like it's
things.
a very different. Oh, I started VTubing to hop on the trend and make money from it, versus I want to do VTubing, but I have to lock in so I can actually afford doing it. You know what I mean?
that's true. You're not wrong.
Yeah, some
However,
people can be
I have
really passionate about it, despite
Yeah, you
you know
have
I've
to some degree
wanting to make some
do it
money.
professionally and make money from it to even do it in the first place. Like to
it's
justify
just
them.
more so cynicism is definitely the correct word, because I would argue against your point that the majority of people just say that, but they're looking for the opportunity to quit their job, and they're looking for the opportunity to just coast and play video games for the rest of their life while complaining about it
I
online for some reason,
mean,
right? Like,
who wouldn't?
I mean, doesn't everyone?
yeah, everyone would. So why? But would you complain? Would you complain about Tommy Hort?
I
On Twitter?
complain
Oh,
all the
Because
time.
you know, you
oh
see,
my,
that's a very different topic. You see, because that's just a
this,
girl. Of course, her Tommy
oh my
Hort.
God, I give up. I give up. See, I don't know. I'm definitely very cynical because I've seen so many, and everyone's like, oh, they're very nice. They have a real job, and then it's like, okay, they got 200 CCV. They quit their job. They're putting out YouTube shorts. They have a donathon. And it's like, oh my God, dude,
I've seen honestly
you're
almost more of
you're just
them
looking for an
where
opportunity.
they're streaming, and then they're like, "Oh, I'm trying to get a job so I can work and make money, so I can afford putting that money into my VTubing because it's my hobby." But they
Hmm.
they either struggle to do both because of time management, because
Yeah,
doing
you
both
need
full
to
time,
justify
or
spend in
they
some
just don't
way.
find a job. The job economy at the moment.
You need to justify in some way
Yeah.
spending so much time streaming and doing Vtuber
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, no. Because the whole thing is that I stream for fun. I stream because I like it. Okay, then you already justified it, right? Like it's
Yeah,
your
but
hobby.
buying an expensive model is also
You
part
don't
of
have
the
to buy an extent. You could be a PNG,
No,
dude.
it's
Some
like,
of the funniest.
okay, see,
Go on.
from my point of view, I'm a musician, right? It's
Yeah.
always been my hobby. I work other jobs. I work an audio engineer. I work in logistics. But as my hobby, I spend 3.5K on a new guitar because I think it's cool,
Yeah.
right? So that's like buying a new model, which is expensive. So might as well use it to make some buck back from it, right?
Yes.
This is
That's
not
fine. Yeah. I'm not okay.
this is not even about elfing anymore.
No,
No,
this is
no.
just
It's me being cynical about the outlook of Western VTubing. Because
Look, at this point in the video,
like-
probably only drama content creators looking for stuff on elfing are still watching. So,
yeah.
like,
TLDR.
who could
don't
make a
drink,
video? I don't know.
Don't be schizophrenic and
Like,
that's why I was
Elfin
saying
has
to
nice
you,
eyebrows.
who's a famous?
you might want to just do. I don't know if you ever did that parasocialism video, but if you want to do.
Yeah,
use this
yeah,
for
I
that
did.
and
I
trim it
just
down.
no,
You should
no.
watch
I did it a long
Really good.
time ago.
It's really
So
only about like grammatical pedantics and nothing else.
yeah,
Oh yeah, just point out my speech
Yeah,
pattern.
it's just really actually you're using the term wrong. That's all it is. It's
Oh.
yes,
funny. You should watch
yes,
it.
yes. That's what I did. No, I just
Oh
It's
my
great.
god.
I saw people using the word a lot, so I just
Yeah.
looked up the definition, and by looked up the definition, I mean actually looking at what the experts, psychologists had to say about this thing.
You did like cite some real sources and stuff. It is professional, but it is pretty funny. The entire idea of just actually you're using the term wrong.
Yeah, because just saying that someone is parasocial towards someone else just because their interaction was limited to talking on the internet, that's not true. That's still a social interaction. Just because they talked on Discord doesn't make it parasocial.
I also get called parasocial when clearly I'm not parasocial. It's just one-sided. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, that's so. In this case, what you have described, it wasn't a parasocial relationship at all. It was just
Not at all.
a normal social relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you will need to find some other term to use if you're going to make a video about this to whoever is watching this.
Yeah, to
Yeah,
all
you
the
should just,
drama tubers, small and big.
I'm
You're using
of the
this
opinion
video
you should
as
just turn it into a
reference.
video essay about
It's not
whatever you
parasocial.
want.
Who's going to make a video essay on Elfin?
I said you should just edit it, voiceover, talk about whatever thing
Nah.
is semi-related.
No, I'm just
Uh,
doing this because it's a low effort podcast. I don't really like. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of drama content. I think it's kind of dumb. To this day, I still have no idea what Cinder has done, and I don't.
Oh,
I
no,
don't.
Okay, so
I don't. I
Cinder
and
is
I
actually
don't
pretty
give
fun.
a shit.
No, it's a
No,
the
no, okay,
Cinder
so-
thing. Go on.
She put out a 1,000-page doc. I thought
Yeah.
your 51-page doc was big. Who writes, and who reads 1,000 pages? That was her sin.
Yeah.
Yeah, but aside that, no one is going to read
Also
the full
her-
The
document.
Cinder-
But I didn't even watch any videos explaining the situation. I just
The Cinder one is interesting because
I
it
don't
was
care.
a bunch of women fighting amongst themselves. But it was also like, if you were paying attention, it was definitely like a conspiratorial, like tactical takedown of her character. Because like all of the documents, like all 6 of them or whatever, released like within like an hour of each other on the same day or something. It's like, oh yeah, here's, whomever, here's here's the artist, here's Bao, here's Lily, here's whomever.
The fucking trend of everyone posting, okay, here's my dog on the Cinder situation. And
Yeah.
they didn't have anything to do with her. It was like the extension for YouTube where you put Nox Taku on every YouTube thumbnail.
Yeah, real.
We need some closing
Let me
statements.
see if I can find the other tweet for you.
Oh yeah.
I can find I'll just screenshot if I find it.
I need some closing statement, guys.
A closing statement. Thank you for listening.
Jesus died for nothing. You're all pieces of shit. Fucking God, man. Why even bother trying to help anyone?
Everyone acted like an immature child. Don't do school, stay in drugs.
What I want to say is, don't mention my name if you ever make a video about Elfin. I'm just here for.
That's a very good point, actually. The only time
I'm
you can
just
mention
here
my
to.
name is in reference to her having to record a cover.
Okay, that's fair.
That bit went on years. It was pretty funny.
I'm just here as a mediator to let people tell their stories. Okay, I'm just here to let people tell their stories.
Dark Souls 3
Okay,
is how the...
Can we not talk about Dark Souls right now?
Yeah, I was gonna say...
Alright.
Okay, so thank you for being here, I guess. Thank you for agreeing to talk about this.
Actually, it's
Say-
your parasocialism.
And yeah, this was a shit show. Thank you for listening, everybody.
Shit show.